Well, hello all. Me again. I just thought I would pop on a minute or two earlier today because otherwise I'm just going to keep playing with things that need to be altered. And that was driving me insane, including myself. So I thought I'd come on and say hello early. So not sure if anybody's going to be here to join me. Fingers crossed some of you are. That would be ideal anyway. I just realised we're really close with the cameras. So I'm going to just make a couple of adjustments. See what I mean? I've been adjusting all day. So it says we're connected. So if you are joining me, please say hello. Or am I on my own? Who knows? Hello, Tina. How are you? I'm not on my own. That's always a good start. Hello, Martin. So how's everybody's week been? 2 weeks it's been since last time. Where does the time go? We had nearly 4 weeks off. 1 day short of 4 weeks we had off. Hi, Carol. The cards I've just seen you post on the group are beautiful. Thank you and well done. Hi, Kirsty. Hi, Rosemary. So what's everybody been doing? Spill the beans. I've been working on new designs and new dies, and we're going to be about 3 or 4 months ahead of myself, which is very unlike me. I'm never that organised. Right, so what are we up to today? Today we're going to be using some of the new bits and pieces again. And I've just seen I have the wrong stencil out. See, look, that's what you do when you do things in a hurry. Hang on a minute, peoples. Let me get the right stencil out. Now you're going to see my secret hideaway, where I keep all my new bits. That's the one I need. Did you see the secret hideaway, everybody? Don't tell everybody. That's where the secret stash is. So we'll get the right one out now. Hello, Amanda, new to Honeydew Crafts. Welcome. Hope you enjoy yourself. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Michelle. You've all pinged in there. Hope you're on the mend, Michelle. Blimey, it's all gone mad. Kirsty, I saw yours yesterday. They're lovely. Well done. I love it when you're all sharing what's going on. You're not on Facebook, Amanda. You're on YouTube. But Martin said it's on Facebook. And we've got a few others saying it's coming through on Facebook. So hiccup your end, I think. Dawn, so am I. But it's been so windy here today. Dawn says, glad it's got a bit warmer. Evening, Sue. The lovely lady or gentleman from Holland. I'm really sorry. I don't even know how to start to pronounce that. Is that a letter? You'll have to let me know. Hi, Eileen. Hi, Sue. Sue, if Mavis is around, tell her I was asking after her again. Right, so let's get into what we're going to be doing. So we're going to flick this around. We're going to get rid of this one. And we are going to have a nosy on here. See, like I moved things about, didn't I? Don't touch, Amanda. If you don't touch, it doesn't go wrong. But I did, and it has. Never mind. Right, so this is what we're working with today. Looks a lot, but it's not really. So we've got our crystal clear embossing powder. We've got our Versafine Onyx black and our sticky glue. That's good to hear. Aletta. I'll try my best. Michelle, that's nice to hear that you're all good. And then we have got our, for some reason, no sticker on it, our super smooth, which comes in the 250 or the 300 GSM. Oh, Linda, that's not good. Hope you're on the mend. And then we've got our black cardstock, which comes in 270 or 300 GSM and 120 GSM. And we've done these bits so we can pop those out of the way. I've got a place now that I put these things so that I don't get them all in a muddle while I'm doing the live, and then I put them back in my secret hidey hole. We are going to be using Blooming Frames tonight, which is one of our new release. So you get the big stamp here, you get all the individual flowers, and then you get birthday, happy wishes, and get well soon, and they fit in this little section here. Oh, Carol, Poor Carol, if you can't, I don't know if you can all read these comments, but Carol says she's saving up some for some of the new stamps because she's had to do an unexpected operation on the dog. Oh, ouch. Hello, Amanda. We're using the Splash stencil. Carol, I hope doggy's all right after the operation. That always hurts the pocket though, doesn't it? I know Maisie last week and the week before I was in the vet twice on a Monday each week. And it's £90 just to walk in the door. But it's always just below what you can claim on insurance, isn't it? Fingers crossed, poor doggy's on the mend. Then we've got Salvaged Patina, Squeeze Lemonade and Kitsch Flamingo Distress Oxides. We will be using the blending brushes. I've only got the medium size here, but we have them in the medium and the large. And then the pens we're using. If you didn't see the email that we sent out, we have now got some of the new colours in. They were out of stock of some of the older ones, or some of the newer ones, but we've got as many in as we can. So if you haven't already seen the email, they are available on our website. They're under pens. I haven't put them in new. They're under pens on our categories, just because I wanted to rush to get them on there for you, for everybody. Right, so the colours we are using are Wine Red 024. The next release, Amanda, won't be Christmas. The release after that is Christmas because we're on TV in July, which is Christmas. We missed the June release. Then we're using Sea Green, which is 416. That's one of the newer colours. Mid Yellow 501, again a newer colour. Mint Leaf 420, again another newer colour. And Lime Green 409. Again, one of the newer colours. I think I used those three last time, actually. It's just the mid-yellow that's one that you won't have seen. Hi, Carol. Right, so let's get onto the cardstock that we need to start with. All fingers and thumbs here. So, per normal, an 8x8 card base. And then a piece of black, which is 7.5 inch square. A piece of white, which is 7 inch square. Amanda, I've done my best to keep them basic. Then we have a piece of black, which is 7 inches by 3¼ inches. And then we'll hop on to the next one. A piece of white, which is 7 inches by 3 inches. This is the only piece which is an odd shape size, but it's entirely up to you if you do it this size. We've got a black piece, which is 4 by 1/8. by 5 1/8, and a white piece which is 4 by 5. Amanda Bacon, no, his leg is still not completely healed. We are looking at probably the end of the summer before he can drive, and at the moment he's still not flyable. And then you need a scrap piece for some little bit of fussy cutting that you're going to be doing. So, yes, he is getting there. Thank you for asking, Amanda. He is getting there. But he's, it's just frustration, really, at the moment because he can't walk on it. And he's doing all the exercise he's supposed to do. He's doing the best he can. And that's all we can ask for at the moment. So, let's get started. That's good to hear, Carol. I'm glad he's on the mend. Right, let's get on to this. Get rid of these two. We can go back to the measurements afterwards. If you need me to, ping it up and let me know. Oh, I didn't clean up from earlier, look. Oh. Give me a moment, ladies and gents, to get this cleaned up. Give it a second to dry. Oh, Amanda, when are you getting your knee operation done? Hello, Carol. How are things going with the bundles of joy? Jules, I missed that. I missed mentioning that. Retirement tomorrow. How exciting. You're not going to have any time to do anything. You know that, Jules, don't you? Apparently. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get to retire. So we are going to be using our Splash stencil first. And we'll just pop these on the magnetic board. If you haven't got a magnetic board, you can just do this with stencil tape to hold it down. For some reason, I'm having to push my mat so far away from me, I can hardly reach it. Mavis, hello, how are you? I was just asking after you. Hello, Mum, and everybody else. We've got family over this evening and they're all sitting in the garden watching me. How lucky are they? Hope you're feeling good, Mavis, on the mend again. So if you are on Facebook, it's, oh, blimey, it's telling me that there's a error occurring retrieving Facebook messages, and then hundreds of them just fell through. So obviously that error's not there anymore. Carol, sleep deprivation is the worst, but hopefully the boys are doing well and you'll get through it. So I won't be asking you to do any samples anytime soon, Carol. We've got new products for the next 3 months, Amanda. So we are blending through stencils with this is the bigger brush and this is the medium brush, if that makes sense to you. You can see the size difference then. So we're just using our Salvaged Patina first. And I've said this numerous times, but I'm going to say it again. If you are not hugely confident with blending, do it through stencils to begin with, and it builds your confidence. It lets you work out the pressures that you need to put on for your to get the colour through and to help blend the colours together. It really does help. And then we have got Squeeze Lemonade. That's a colour I don't often use, but I thought I would give it a go. So those of you that can't see and don't realise, so just to give you an update, Carol was or is on our design team and will always be welcome on our design team, but has recently had twin boys, 10th of April, I believe. And she has Sophia, who I think is 4 now. So she's got her hands full. So won't be doing any demos for us anytime soon. And I think it'll be a while before you get crafting quietly, Carol, unfortunately. And then our last colour, so going back to what I'm reading everybody's comments and not actually telling you what I'm doing. So Squeeze Lemonade. So I go over it and I slightly overlap the previous colour. And then I take the previous colour back in over the top of that. You'll actually end up with 5 colours on this. Mavis, yes, Martin is still in the boot. But thank you again for asking. Right, my Kitsch Flamingo is a very well loved one, so I'm having to make it work. It doesn't want to be part of the team today. I need a refill for it, or a re-inker or a replacement. I think that'll be about my 5th Kitsch Flamingo since it came out. I use it so much, as you all know. Bit of a pink girl, aren't I? So we'll just keep blending these, working this. Oh, nearly there, nearly there. It's been a while since I've done this amount of blending. It's not the wobbly work table, Margaret. It's because my phone is on a stand, which is what does our overhead. So I try my best not to work it too much, but I'm afraid we do have a little bit of a wobble when I'm blending. Close your eyes for a second. Evening, Pat. Some of them, Carol, I use the re-inkers. Some of them I just replace because I know that I'm going to use them to death. So, yeah, I have re-inkers for a few of them. The re-inkers are actually quite difficult to get here in the UK now. The only UK supplier of them is no longer restocking re-inkers. And obviously with Creative Expressions going, that, oh, I've just removed all of those and I didn't go back over this one with the yellow. that just blends those colours seamlessly all together. We hope. Now don't clean your stencil off yet. Hello, Sharon. Pop that off to one side. Now that small piece that we're going to be stamping on, take your small piece now, and you can either use the whole thing if you wanted to. I'm not going to. I am just going to lightly ink around the edges, but I'm going to do it through the stencil. So I try and keep within those same colours, but again, that's up to you how you do it. It doesn't matter if you don't want to. And I am only just literally taking the ink that was already, oh, I didn't want to do that. See, that's why you should do it properly in the first place. The ink that was already on the stencil. I'm not adding any extra. Maybe a little bit more on the pink because I went a bit heavy down there on the blue. So you just literally, you can't even see that on the camera. I'll come up. So we're just getting a slight little light effect around the edges of that one. You're then going to take the long skinny piece, which is, I believe, 7 by 3. And you are also going to ink that one. Margaret, I'll get all the inking done at once and then the wobbly table will be done. So remember, if you're using a magnetic board, you actually have to hold the paper down too. So don't be putting your magnet over here because as you ink on this, this is moving. So you're going to put the magnets down on the cardstock as well. Now I'm trying really hard not to move it around too much, Margaret. I get a bit carried away and forget I'm not supposed to make it move too much. So Salvaged Patina, squeezed lemonade. Good evening, Jill. And then back over with the Salvaged Patina. So these are Distress Oxides if you missed that at the start. They're not the inks, they're Distress Oxides. And then last but not least, Kitsch Flamingo. I'm sitting in here and I'm getting warmer and warmer and warmer. I don't know what's going on. My face is on fire. I'll be as pink as this pink is in a minute. And then back in with that squeezed lemonade over the top to blend those two colours together. Now you can clean your stencil. So that's what you will end up with. Hi, Di. Right, so I'm just going to clean my mess off this mat so we don't have the same problem I had earlier. And we will just pop these all to one side. So that's it with your inks. So you can then clear those out of your way. Bear with me 2 seconds. If I can get these out of the way. Oh, Kirsty, that's not a good start to your week. Hopefully you've recovered and they can do something about your brain tumour that they've discovered. Blimey. But that was a bit of a shock. So I knew somebody was going to ask me when I said that. So the Distress Oxides are opaque and they are a combination of two different inks, a dye-based ink and a pigment ink. And they work exactly the same way, so you can do all the same things that you would do with a Distress ink and a Distress Oxide. The Distress Oxides, as I say, are opaque, so you can layer one colour on top of the other and it will remain the true colour. With the Distress inks, if you mix the inks on one on top of the other, they become a bit muddy. That won't happen with your Oxides. And personally, I find Oxides 100 times easier to work with. Hopefully that answered your question, Jill. They blend so much easier. Right, so I'm just going to quickly clean my stamp. I'm cheating a little bit because I'm squirting it with some water because my wet wipes are really dry. So they're dry wipes at the moment. So you notice I put a piece of kitchen paper underneath. That means that my stencil gets cleaned back and front without having to worry about it. Sometimes I'll just give it, I've used this stencil so much it's stained already. And that's my stencil clean. Quick, easy, no problem. Right, so now we are going to work on our stamped image. So we've got all our three pieces inked up. This is a quick, easy card to make. Again, we never do anything particularly difficult, do I? So let's go on to our stamping. So that piece that I said to you, don't, I've had my stamps in the wrong place. That was a bad move, Amanda. Let's hope we haven't done any damage to it. I put it on top of me. I've got an extension wheel beside me and I put it on top of that. Very naughty. And now I'm dropping everything because I'm moving it. So we are going to ink our stamp up. Lots and lots of little light taps, and not a lot of pressure, just lots of little light taps. And then we're going to stamp this image out. What is going on? I'm going to try and pull this in a little. Oh, now, sorry, Margaret, that was me making it wobbly. Hopefully that will work. Right, so we're going to stamp our image out. It's a big image, so give it time to let the ink soak through into the cardstock. And where it's heavily blacked, so the leaves, the centre of the flowers, that kind of stuff, I always just give them a little bit of an extra push just to make sure. You know when you tidied up and you put things away that you shouldn't have put away? I've done that again. There we go. Found it. Found the bit I was looking for. Now you've all gone quiet on me. Just because I'm starting to stamp. Let's see whether I go wrong with it. Well, obviously putting it where I put it didn't harm it. But don't do that. And then crystal clear embossing powder over the top. A light tap to take the excess off. And then we are going to heat this from underneath. In fact, before I heat it, I am going to quickly pop a sentiment on there at the same time. Once you've got the ink, the embossing powder on there, it makes life easier. You don't have to rush then. It's just, you've just got to get that involved. I'm cheating here. I'm doing everything I tell you not to do. And this will probably not be very straight either, but I'm just doing it for quickness. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. Don't ever do what I just did. Because you know you're going to do it right at the end when you've put all the work into it, and then you'll go and smudge it or do something silly like that. So don't do that. Carol, I'm never finding if I put things away. I never find it. Drives me insane. Right, so I'm going to heat from underneath. That allows the heat to melt the powder, but it stops the powder jumping about as much. Amanda, can I ask why you put embossing powder on once stamped? So, the reason I did... Are we asking about the first one or the second? So I stamped the image out and then you put the embossing powder over the top. That then gets heated and it's melted, which will give you the raised finish. The reason I put the stamped sentiment on, I stamped the sentiment on after I had done the initial stamping and the embossing powder is because the ink I'm using dries really quickly, and rather than let it dry and not be able to get embossing powder on, I cheated. This is a good question, Jill. So Jill says, have you always used blocks rather than a stamping platform? I think I'd end up chucking loads away because I'd miss bits. Right, so Jill, I'm the other way around. When I use a stamping press, I'm throwing things away. But that's because I have always used stamping blocks. That's just a personal preference. Stamping platforms have their place. The ladies that do my workshops will know I call them the work of the devil. Because and you'll probably call the blocks a work of the devil because they drive me insane. It's never much fun. So, yeah, I use the stamping press, but I very rarely have to go back in. The trick to making sure that you don't have to go in and restamp it, and very occasionally I will make an error. Sometimes you'll see it stamped on the back, is to make sure you put plenty of ink on. And if you think you've got enough on, go back and put a bit more. Because if you don't put enough ink on your stamp, you're not going to get the ink to transfer onto your card. So hopefully that answers that question for you, Jill. Teresa, I'm sorry to hear that. Teresa, I know we watch over 2 platforms, so people don't know, and I'm answering these questions. Teresa's put, she hasn't watched for a while because she lost her husband in November. Trying to get back into crafting, back on track, and these stamps are perfect. That's lovely to hear, Teresa. I'm really sorry for your loss. And I know exactly where you're coming from. I know when we lost my dad, it took a good 9 months before we were back up and crafting. But I'm so pleased that you're giving it a go. And hopefully we'll give you a bit of inspiration. So again, lots and lots of little light taps. So this is all the individual stamps that come in this set of flowers. So I've just positioned them all on one, and because I wanted all of them. And the reason I'm doing this before I've coloured this is because we want the colours to be the same, and we're doing a bit of a mix and match. We're doing a bit of mixing of colours. Amanda will panic. But we're not doing pen to pen, Amanda, you were right. So pop that down. And again, we're just going to quickly emboss these. Light tap. Put that to one side and get rid of that embossing powder. And again, the reason I heat from underneath is to put that barrier between the air that blows out of your heat tool and that embossing powder. Because as I mentioned earlier, this particular ink isn't best friends with embossing powder, so it dries quite quickly. Once the powder is on there, you're fine, because it's already stuck where it's going to stick with the inks. So don't rush once you've got the powder on there, but do rush-ish to get the powder on there at the beginning. Okay. So I wanted the 2 done because I want to colour them in together. Right, so we're going to use a paintbrush and some water. And we're going to start off just by scribbling some of our colour onto the mat, onto a craft mat. If you use a glass mat, it's fine to do it on the glass mat as well. You don't want your paintbrush too wet because this isn't watercolour cardstock. So we don't want it to get too wet. This is just our super smooth. So don't be tempted to go back in and go over it a second time. I am going to super speed colour this because I have already coloured this one in. I have already got it ready to go. But I want to show you about the mixing of the colours. So don't judge how badly I colour this in because I am going really too fast for what I'm doing. The embossing powder does help you stay in the lines a little bit, but don't rely on them. So that's the first colour. As I say, don't judge me on the colouring. I have spent more time on the one that I'm gonna actually use on the card. But you want that same colour to transfer over here on these ones as well. I do tend to work in circular motions because it means you don't often get those lines. Just need a little bit more colour with these. So with this one, it doesn't really matter because it's just one colour that you're using. So it doesn't matter if they're not exactly, you don't have to do them at the same time, so to speak. And that one's a bit pale, so we need to go with a bit more colour. But when we come to the next couple, again, the yellow is the same colour. But when we come to do the smaller flowers down here, I mixed some colours up. I've got to remember which way I did it. So we'll go with this one first. So I used some of the wine red, and I'm using the mid yellow. I'm going to scribble some mid yellow down as well. Then with that same paintbrush, I'm going to mix those two together. And we should come out with a salmony, orangey, pinky colour, hopefully. So although your base colours are one colour, you can make so many more colours out of them. And don't be scared to mix the colours up like this. It works really well. All you've got to do is make sure that when you're doing it, you've got everything that you want to colour in that colour, if it needs to be the same. That's the only thing. Make sure you colour in the right flowers as well. So as I said, this one comes out a sort of a salmony, orangey colour. And it is a super speed colouring. So they are the difference in colours. Just by adding that, mixing the yellow together, we've got that salmony pinky colour. And then we are going to go in again. We've got one of our newer ones. This is Leaf Mint. No, Mint Leaf even. Where did Leaf Mint come from? And I'm going to, again, mix that with a little bit of yellow. My water's gone a bit pink, so hopefully that's not going to affect it. And we're going to go in here. In fact, let's try it with the sea green and the yellow. I think that's a better match. It's going to be a stronger colour, I think. We'll find out. About the same. Typical. I wanted that to be a bit bluer than it is. This is what I mean. You need to make sure that you are using the same colours to repeat onto the other stamp so that they come through at the same colour. Now the yellow is a lovely yellow on its own. But just because I want to keep it all within the same shades, I'm going to do the same thing and just pick the colour up. So they all get the same look. If I went on there with directly with the colour, it would be a much, much stronger colour than the rest of the images that we've coloured in. So you're going to keep going and keep going and keep going until you end up with something along these lines. So I'm just going to wipe down my little bit of mess that I've made here. Should have put some paper on that. That would have come out quite funky. Just that, I agree, Jill, these pens are amazing. They are really high pigmented in colour, so they're brilliant for this. So that's what you're going to end up with. You are then going to, dare I say it, fussy cut all of those little flowers out that we previously, you've just seen me colour in. So this section here, you're going to cut them all out to look like so. Then you're going to just take a kebab stick or a pencil, a skinny pencil, something like that, and you're just going to hold it in the middle and you're just going to pull those petals. Then nip it in the middle here and just use your nail to shape those petals a little bit. And you're going to do that with all three or 4 of them. The tiny one I didn't bother. There is more to life than that, because look how tiny it is. Can't get in there to do it, even if you wanted to. And then we'll just do these ones quickly. And it just gives them a little bit of dimension. It doesn't have to have a lot. I'm not sure if I'm still on YouTube. There's no YouTube comments coming through. So if you are watching us on YouTube, please let me know you're there. It'd be lovely to hear from you. Right. And I've said this previously. So when you first initially heat emboss, and I didn't do this that long ago. Normally I would leave this to sit for longer if I could. Your paper can get a bit wavy. So if you leave it to settle, it does relax a little bit. You may still have a little bit of a kink in it, but it will relax it a bit. So we are now going to put this all together, hopefully. That's the plan. Bear with me. Don't want to lose any of my flowers, including my tiny little one. Right, so first off, oh, I've got myself in a bit of a muddle. Oh, Joan, that's good to know you are still there with us then. That's what we like to hear. Right, so we are going to take our sticky glue and unblock it first, because I didn't do that before I came on either. You're very quiet, Michelle. Beginning to think YouTube had left us. So I do try and do this as I'm going along, and I didn't do this time, but hey ho. Right, then we are going to pop this piece down. Now, just to confuse matters a little bit more, I know I inked it that way, but I'm actually going to stick it on this way. And I'm also going to make sure my banner goes round the same way. Now you could, if you wanted to, pop. You could pop some foam pads under here, but I'm not actually going to. I'm going to leave it at one level. Come off the screen, that was silly. I apologise if you can hear my dog barking. Our neighbours are out on the driveway and she's so nosy. She has to let everybody know that there's someone there and let them know that she's there. And I can hear her barking. And then we're going to position this one on the top here. If you do put it onto foam pads, make sure that you put a little bit of glue on the back of those foam pads to give it a little bit of wiggle room so you can position it where you want it to be. And don't press down hard until you're happy with where it is. This actually gives an illusion, doesn't it? Actually, like the panels we did in the last YouTube live. That wasn't what I was aiming for at all. But or Facebook and YouTube live. But you get the idea. So we've coloured those all in, and we are also going to stick this together. We could put it on the scriff. I'm actually going to go over here and pop it on there. Because we haven't put foam pads on here, I can glue the whole thing. If you have put this onto foam pads, remember you only want to ink or glue up the centerpiece. Right, so that's those bits done. We are then going to do our flowers. I'm going to start with the big one and tuck everything else in underneath it. Now, if you want to, you can go exactly in the same position it's in. I'm going to position ours slightly off so that they kind of layer up rather than being directly over the same image. So I'm literally putting a little bit of glue right in the center of those flowers. And then we've got this one and then that tiny, tiny little piece. And then the last one is just going to go in just because otherwise it will look odd that it's not. Oh, there we go. And there we have it. You know, I always say put something in, but I cleaned my stencil before I did the inside of the card, which is so not like me. But I would usually put a little bit on the inside of the card here just so that the whole thing ties together. And that's how quick and easy it is. A really simple card. And we have used pen colours are Mint Leaf number 420. It's a new colour for us anyway. Sea Green 416, Mid Yellow 501, again those three are all new ones, and then Lime Green 409, again a new one. And then the last colour I've used tonight is Wine Red, which is the pink that I've used here. I didn't mix it, just wine red and a bit of water, it comes out pink. Again, a really simple card to make, but really easy to do and really effective, I think. Personally, you might not like it, but the oxide colours we've used are Kitsch Flamingo, Squeeze Lemonade and Salvaged Patina. We have used our sticky glue. Oh, where are we? Let me grab my bits and pieces out of the safe place. We've used Versafine Onyx Black and we've used our sticky glue. Thank you very much, ladies. You're all saying how lovely the card is. Thank you very much. Sue says, maybe simple but looks fab. Margaret, very pretty. Anne Harris, that's a lovely card. Die border, very nice. And Jill, that's very pretty. Thank you all very much, ladies. Then we have used our black cardstock and our white cardstock. Our stencil that we've used today is the new Splash stencil, and the stamp we have used is our new Blooming Frame stamp. We use the blending brushes. Remember, they come in the two sizes. I've only got a new one here of the medium, but it comes in large too. As does the glue, it comes in the smaller size. What else did we use tonight? I think that's everything, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's everything that we've used. My picture's just gone completely blank, so I don't know if I'm still here. I appear to be, but I don't know why my... Oh, there, I'm back. You get me again, but this screen here has gone blank, so you're not going to get to see my desk, which is very weird. No idea why. Something to do with my phone, but I have no idea what it was. But you've got me. Glad you all liked the card. I will hold it up here to show you. Do we need to see the measurements again, or are you all happy to go back and watch on the measurements? That was really weird, and I don't know why that has happened. The connection between the two systems seemed to have disconnected itself. But you've got me anyway. So a couple of things we need to remind you about. So we have got our next Facebook Live here, which will be new product launch, is on the 12th of June, Thursday the 12th of June. And then that's lovely to hear, Sue, thank you. And then we've got Craftorama in Kent at the Detling at the it's in Detling, the showground. That's on Saturday the 7th of June. And if you're going to that, go early, because I know we were very, very, very full last time, and 6 and 2 3s. I say go early because if they get too many people, they can't let everybody in. If you come there too early and everybody's there, it's busy. But we'd love to see lots of you there. We have to support all of these little shows that are going on, because if you don't, then they're not going to happen. The exhibitors won't be able to go, and they just won't continue to go on. So if you have a show local to you and you hear about it, do your utmost to go and have a look and support those exhibitors. What else have we got? We've got Craftorama, a new one in Bolton, talking of which, on the 22nd of June. But in the middle of all of that, we are on TV, Hobby Maker, on Saturday the 14th of June. I don't often do a Saturday, so it'll be quite nice to be there at a weekend. It's always a lot quieter and you can get parked. And we are on at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Sorry, I'm looking over here because I've got it written down on a bit of paper to remember to do it. So I hope you all enjoyed this evening's one. I have no idea why that crashed. I do need to put this up here. Please like and subscribe to us on Facebook and YouTube. It does mean that you get a little bit of a notifications when things are going on, and we've got things going on. And Facebook, we're always posting bits and pieces. And if you're on Instagram, we're there too. We'll be there, Margaret, in Lincoln in October. And then everything that we've used today, as we've said before, is available on our website, honeydewcrafts.co.uk. What else do we need to say? Yeah, I think that's it. If you miss these, you can go back onto our website. Along the very top, it says demonstration videos or demo videos or something like that. If you click on that, it will take you to our YouTube channel where you can watch every video we've ever made. So hopefully you'll be able to do that if you've missed this evening's, or you want to catch up on something we've done previously. I'm going to whip that off. I'm going to, no, obviously not whip that off because it didn't go off. There we go. There, clear. I'm going to show you the card again because obviously the overhead camera went off. And that's me. I hope you enjoyed this evening. And anybody who's got any questions, please feel free to ping us an email. Yeah, I think that's everything. We will see you all again on the 12th of June for Facebook Live, YouTube Live with a brand new launch. Have a lovely evening.